Welcome! I'm so glad you found your way here to this quiet corner of the world where the clock seemed to tick a little slower and the restless noise of the day begins to fade into a soft, distant hum. You have stepped out of the rush and into a space designed for your rest. Tonight, we are going to embark on a gentle journey toward what I like to call sensory serenity. It is a remarkable thing, really, how our bodies take the vast, often chaotic signals of the universe, the vibrations in the air, the invisible waves of light, the subtle pressure of a cool breeze, and translate them into a sense of internal peace. We often spend our waking hours reacting to these signals without a second thought, but tonight, we are going to slow down and understand them. We are going to explore how your biology is beautifully designed to bring you back to a state of perfect balance. You were likely taught as a child that we have 5 senses: sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell. But in reality, your nervous system is far more sophisticated than that. You possess a wide array of hidden senses that work tirelessly in the background, even while you sleep. There are receptors that tell you exactly where your limbs are in the dark, systems that monitor the steady rhythm of your heart, and delicate structures that detect the constant, grounding pull of gravity. All of these systems are working right now to keep you safe, steady, and grounded in your environment. They are the silent guardians of your equilibrium. As we begin this exploration of the self, I invite you to join our quiet community. If you find comfort in these restful nights of learning, a soft click to subscribe and a gentle like on this video helps ensure this peaceful space remains available for you and for everyone seeking a moment of calm. We are so happy to have you with us in this quiet circle. Now, let us settle in. Before we dive into the mechanics of your wondrous body, I invite you to take a very slow, conscious breath. Inhale the cool, still air deeply into your lungs. Hold it for just a moment, and then let it out with a long, effortless sigh. Feel the weight of your body as it settles and sinks into the mattress. Notice how the gravity of the earth holds you securely. You don't have to do anything now. You don't have to go anywhere. You are supported. You are exactly where you need to be. To truly understand how we find peace, we must first look at how we perceive the world around us. We shall begin with our most dominant window into the universe, the sense of sight. It is a process that begins with something so small yet so powerful, traveling across the vastness of the cosmos just to reach the quiet sanctuary of your eyes. Imagine, if you will, a single photon of light. This tiny, weightless packet of energy may have begun its journey thousands of years ago, born in the heart of a distant star. It has traveled through the cold, silent vacuum of space, crossing distances we can barely conceive, moving at a speed that defies our everyday intuition. After its long, solitary voyage through the cosmos, it finally reaches the atmosphere of our planet, filters through the night air, and finds its way to the quiet sanctuary where you now rest. It arrives at your eye, not with a crash, but with a silent, infinitesimal touch. The first thing this traveler encounters is the cornea. Think of the cornea as a clear, protective dome, the window through which the world enters your mind. It is a masterpiece of biological engineering. In a body filled with intricate networks of veins and arteries, the cornea stands apart as something truly unique. It is the only tissue in the entire human body that contains no blood vessels. If it did, our vision would be obscured by a web of red. Instead, the cornea remains perfectly transparent, drawing the oxygen it needs directly from the air and the fluid around it. It is a moment of absolute clarity, designed specifically to let the light pass through unhindered. Just behind this clear window lies a gentle, nourishing sea known as the aqueous humor. This is a clear, watery fluid that maintains the pressure of the eye and provides nutrients to the structures that lack their own blood supply. It is constantly being refreshed, a slow and steady tide within the eye that keeps everything balanced and healthy. As the light moves through this fluid, it reaches the lens. Unlike the glass lens of a telescope or a camera, your lens is soft, flexible, and alive. It changes shape with a subtle, effortless grace, bending the incoming light so that it lands exactly where it needs to be. It is a process of constant, quiet adjustment, ensuring that whether you are looking at the vastness of the moon or the soft texture of your pillow, the image is brought into a gentle focus. It is truly remarkable when you consider the sheer variety of what we can perceive. The human eye is capable of distinguishing roughly 10 million different colors. Even in the dim, hushed environment of a darkened room, your eyes are performing a feat of incredible sensitivity. When you believe you are in total darkness, your eyes are often still catching those stray packets of energy, those lone photons that have wandered in from the hallway or through a gap in the curtains. Your body is a vessel for light, a collector of the universe's most subtle signals. As we lie here in the stillness, it is comforting to realize that even when our eyes are heavy and the world seems to have faded away, the physical structures of our vision are still there, held in a state of quiet readiness. We have moved through the outer layers, through the clear windows and the nourishing fluids, following the path of that light as it is focused and refined. But the journey of the photon does not end with the physical structure of the eye. It is about to undergo a profound transformation, turning from a wave of energy into a whisper of chemistry. At the very back of the eye, where the light finally lands after its long journey, lies a layer of tissue so thin and fragile it is often compared to a delicate wallpaper. This is the retina, a living tapestry of neurons that serves as the final destination for every image you have ever seen. It is here that the physical world of light waves undergoes a miraculous change, turning into the electrical language of the brain. Within this microscopic landscape, two types of specialized cells work in perfect harmony to translate the world for you: the rods and the cones. Imagine the rods as the guardians of the night. There are approximately 120 million of these specialized cells in each of your eyes, and they are incredibly sensitive to even the faintest glimmer of light. While they cannot see color, they are the reason you can navigate your bedroom in the middle of the night. They detect the soft shapes of the furniture, the gentle outline of the door, and the subtle shifts in the shadows. As you lie here in the dim light, your rods are at their most active, scanning the quiet room and keeping you grounded in your surroundings. They are the reason that darkness is rarely absolute. to a rod cell, even the smallest spark of energy is enough to create a map of the world. The cones, by contrast, are the artists of the eye. They require more light to function, and they are responsible for the vibrant colors and sharp details that define our waking hours. They are the reason a sunset looks golden and a forest looks a deep mossy green. While they may be resting now in the low light of your room, they have spent the day painting the world for you in millions of hues. It is a beautiful balance, the rods providing the structure and the cones providing the beauty. But perhaps you have noticed something curious when you finally close your eyes for the night. Even behind the velvet curtain of your eyelids, the darkness is rarely a flat, empty black. You might see shifting clouds of violet, tiny sparks of silver, or swirling patterns of light that seem to dance in the void. These are called phosphenes. They aren't caused by external light, but by the internal workings of your own visual system. Sometimes it is simply the gentle pressure of your eyelids against your eyes, or the natural electrical charges of the neurons in your retina, burning softly as they settle down for the night. It is a private internal aurora borealis, a sign that your body is still pulsing with life even as you move toward the stillness. As these internal lights fade and your mind begins to drift, the way we perceive the world changes. We move away from the physical mechanics of lenses and cells and begin to enter the realm of feeling. The colors we see, whether in the bright light of day or the soft glow of a bedside lamp, do more than just help us identify objects. They speak directly to our emotions and our sense of peace. The journey of light is not just a biological process, it is a psychological one. Every shade and every wavelength carries its own quiet message, influencing how deeply we breathe and how quickly our hearts find their resting rhythm. The light that reaches us is not just a single uniform glow, it is a tapestry of different wavelengths, each one carrying a different rhythm and a different mood. Think of the bright, crisp blue of a clear morning sky. This specific wavelength of light is filled with high energy. When it enters your eyes, it interacts with specialized cells that send a direct signal to your brain's internal clock, the master regulator of your daily rhythms. This blue light tells your mind that it is time to be awake, alert, and active. It is nature's way of pulling the world into the morning, stimulating our focus and keeping us engaged with the tasks at hand. But as the day begins to lean toward its end, the atmosphere filters the light differently. The sharp, high-energy blues fade away, replaced by the long, slow wavelengths of amber, orange, and deep red. This is the light of the sunset, the light of a flickering fire, or the soft glow of a bedside lamp. These warmer tones carry a very different message for your biology. They are the absence of the wake-up signal. These long wavelengths tell your nervous system that the demands of the day are over. They are a biological invitation for your brain to begin the gentle process of winding down, allowing the chemicals of rest to start their quiet, necessary work. Scientists have spent decades studying how these specific colors affect our very physiology, uncovering fascinating ways that our environment shapes our inner state. There is a particular shade, often referred to as Baker-Miller pink, that has produced some truly remarkable results in clinical studies. Researchers found that when individuals were placed in a room painted this specific soft hue of bubblegum pink, Their heart rates naturally began to slow, and their physical muscle strength actually decreased as they became more relaxed. It is as if the color itself has the power to reach out and soothe the nervous system, proving that our eyes are not just tools for navigation, but gateways for tranquility. By choosing the right visual environment, by dimming the lights and surrounding ourselves with these warm, soft tones, we are essentially giving our brain permission to rest. We are creating a sanctuary of color that tells every cell in our body that it is safe to let go of the day's tension. It is a visual lullaby, a transition from the frantic energy of the sunlit hours into the quiet stillness of the night. You might notice as you lie here how the soft shadows and the lack of harsh light allow your eyes to finally stop searching and simply exist in the calm. And just as we are influenced by the silent waves of light that wash over us, we are equally shaped by the invisible waves that travel through the air in a different form. Light is a wave of energy, but there are other ripples in the world around us. Ripples of vibration that we perceive not with our eyes, but with the delicate, intricate architecture of our ears. As the colors around you soften and fade into the velvet shadows of the room, your focus begins to shift. You move away from the world of sight and begin to settle into the world of sound. The journey of the wave continues, moving from the brilliance of a photon to the gentle pressure of a vibration, as we begin to explore how the air itself carries the message of peace to our minds. Imagine the physics of a whisper. When I speak to you in this low, hushed tone, I am creating giddy, invisible ripples in the air. It is a gentle dance of molecules nudging one another in a sequence of pressure, moving toward you like a slow wave on a quiet lake at dawn. This is the essence of sound, not a thing you see, but a texture you feel through the air itself. It is a physical connection between my voice and your rest, a series of invisible vibrations that carry the message of safety to your mind. The journey begins at the pinna, the visible part of your outer ear. Its unique curved shape is not accidental. It is a masterpiece of biological engineering designed to catch these wandering ripples of air. Like a soft satellite dish, the pinna gathers the vibrations from the environment and funnels them inward, guiding them down the ear canal toward the eardrum. This thin, delicate membrane, no larger than a fingernail, acts like the surface of a drum, vibrating in perfect sympathy with the air that touches it. It is here that the world of wind and breath is translated into the world of movement. Just behind the eardrum, in the small air-filled chamber of the middle ear, we find a trio of architectural wonders, the malleus, the incus, and the stapes. You may know them by their more common names, the hammer, the anvil, and the stirrup. These are the three smallest bones in the entire human body, and they are marvels of efficiency. To give you a sense of their incredible scale, the stapes, the smallest of the three, is roughly the size of a single grain of rice. Yet, despite their diminutive size, they perform a monumental task. They act as a mechanical bridge, taking the vibrations from the eardrum and amplifying them, carefully carrying the energy of sound deeper into the hidden chambers of your head. As you listen to these words, I want you to take a moment to notice not just the sound of my voice, but the silence that lives in the spaces between my words. That quiet, empty space is where your mind can truly begin to settle. Take a slow, deep breath and feel the stillness of the room around you. There is no rush to understand and no pressure to listen closely. There is only the rhythm of the air and the soft, steady hum of your own existence. The vibrations have traveled through the air and across the bridge of the smallest bones, but their path is about to change. They are leaving the open air of the middle ear and entering a place of profound complexity, a hidden world known as the labyrinth. This is the inner ear, a sanctuary of fluid and microscopic precision, where the physical world of motion begins its final, beautiful transformation. We are moving from the mechanical and toward the electrical, descending into the spiraling depths of the mind's most delicate sensor. As we move deeper into the labyrinth of the inner ear, we encounter one of nature's most elegant structures, the cochlea. It is a tiny hollow chamber coiled exactly like the shell of a snail, barely the size of a pea. Yet, within this miniature spiral, a miracle of translation occurs. The vibrations that were once ripples in the air and then mechanical movements of bone now enter a world of liquid. The cochlea is filled with a special fluid that carries these vibrations forward in shimmering waves, much like the tide rolling across a quiet shore. Inside this coiled chamber lies a delicate ribbon of tissue lined with thousands of microscopic sensors known as hair cells. These are not like the hair on your head. They are incredibly fine, specialized structures that sway in the fluid like seagrass in a gentle current. Each hair cell is tuned to a specific frequency. Those at the wider base of the spiral respond to high-pitched, shimmering sounds, while those deep within the center of the coil vibrate in resonance with low, rumbling tones. As the fluid moves over them, these tiny hairs bend and flex, and in that simple motion, they trigger a spark. This is the exact moment where the physical world becomes the internal world. The movement of the fluid is converted into electrical impulses, the language of the brain, which then travel along the auditory nerve to be understood as sound. The range of what you can perceive is vast and beautiful. A healthy human ear can detect frequencies ranging from 20 hertz, a deep thrumming bass that you feel in your chest, all the way up to 20,000 hertz, a pitch so high and thin it sounds like the whistle of a distant star. However, we are not equally sensitive to every tone. Evolution has fine-tuned our ears to be most responsive to the frequencies of the human voice. This is why, even in a quiet room, my voice feels clear and present to you. Your ears are biologically designed to prioritize these specific vibrations, finding comfort and connection in the cadence of speech. Consider for a moment the sheer complexity required just to hear the softest details of your environment. When you adjust your position in bed, the microscopic rustle of the cotton sheets against your skin creates a complex tapestry of sound. It is a soft, white noise, a gentle friction that your cochlea processes with effortless precision. Or perhaps you hear the distant, muffled rhythm of a lullaby, or the steady ticking of a clock in another room. Each of these sounds is a gift of biological engineering, a constant stream of data that your brain uses to map the space around you, ensuring that everything is as it should be. This incredible sensitivity is what allows us to feel safe in the dark. Our ears never truly sleep. They remain our sentinels, standing guard while our eyes are closed. They filter the world, distinguishing between the sharp, sudden sound that requires our attention and the soft, repetitive rhythms that signal it is safe to let go. This ability to filter sound is a cornerstone of a restful night. It is why a sudden floorboard creak might startle us, yet the continuous, rhythmic falling of rain against a window pane can lull us into a state of profound peace. As you lie there, you might notice that the silence of the room isn't actually empty. There is a texture to the quiet, a faint, steady hum of the world continuing outside your door. We often think of silence as the absence of sound, but for the brain, true silence can sometimes be unsettling. Instead, we find the most comfort in sounds that are predictable and constant. This brings us to a fascinating intersection of physics and psychology, the world of colored noise. Just as light can be broken into a spectrum of colors, sound can be organized into different textures that have a unique power to shield our minds from the unexpected. We are beginning to move from the specific sounds of the world into the soothing embrace of the steady and the rhythmic. Imagine the steady rhythmic hum of a fan in the corner of a room, or the relentless, soft drumming of rain against a window pane. There is a reason these sounds feel like a warm invitation to sleep. It is not just the sound itself that relaxes us, but what that sound does to our environment. This is the science of sound masking. Your brain, even when you are drifting off, remains a highly sophisticated change detector. It isn't necessarily a loud noise that wakes you up in the middle of the night. It is the sudden difference in sound levels. A floorboard creak in a dead silent room is a massive spike in data for your brain to process. But when you have a steady, consistent background frequency, that spike is buried. It is like trying to see the light of a single candle in a dark room versus trying to see it in a room already filled with soft, glowing sunshine. The background light, or in this case, the background sound, masks the intrusion, allowing your nervous system to remain undisturbed. While many people are familiar with white noise, which contains all audible frequencies at equal intensity, many find even deeper rest in what scientists call pink noise. If white noise is the static of an old television, pink noise is the rustle of leaves in a forest, or the steady flow of a distant river. In pink noise, the energy is not distributed equally. Instead, it has more power at lower frequencies. This creates a deeper, richer sound that mimics the natural rhythms we have evolved with for millennia. The sound of the wind, the heartbeats we heard in the womb, and the movement of the tides. Studies have shown that listening to steady pink noise can actually slow down brainwave activity, helping to stabilize sleep and even improve memory consolidation. It provides a predictable auditory landscape, a sonic blanket that tells the brain there is no need to stay on high alert. When the brain encounters a predictable, repetitive pattern, it performs a beautiful bit of biological magic. It stops paying attention. This is called habituation. Because the sound of the rain or the fan doesn't change, the brain decides it is no longer a threat or a source of new information. It filters it out, creating a psychological space of absolute safety. In this state of acoustic stability, the orienting response, that instinct to look toward a new sound, is turned off. You are free to sink deeper into your pillows, knowing that the world is constant and secure. As you settle into this predictability, you might notice that your awareness is shifting. You are no longer just listening to the space around you. You are becoming more aware of the space within you and the physical boundaries where you meet the world. Just as a steady sound can mask the chaos of the outside world, the physical environment of your bed begins to mask the stresses of the day. This transition from the vibrations of the air to the tangible world of touch is where we find our next layer of serenity. We move now from the ears to the body's largest and most protective organ, the skin, which is waiting to tell the brain exactly where it ends and where the comfort of the rest of the world begins. Imagine the skin not just as a covering, but as a vast living map. It is the largest organ you possess, a continuous landscape that stretches from the crown of your head to the very tips of your toes. This is your primary interface with the physical world, the delicate boundary where the you ends and the rest of the universe begins. While we often think of our eyes or ears as our main tools for observation, it is the skin that provides the most immediate and constant feedback about your environment. Even now, as you lie still in the quiet of the night, your skin is whispering to your brain, confirming that you are safe, supported, and cocooned in comfort. This constant communication happens through an incredibly sophisticated network known as the somatosensory system. It is a complex web of nerves and specialized cells that translate physical contact into the electrical language of the mind. Scattered throughout the various layers of your skin are millions of tiny sensors known as mechanoreceptors. These are the unsung heroes of your relaxation. Some are designed to detect the lightest brush of a stray hair, while others respond to steady pressure or the subtle stretching of the skin as you adjust your position. They work in perfect harmony to ensure that your brain is always aware of the space your body occupies. Within this vast network, there are approximately 5 million sensory receptors embedded in your skin. They are not distributed evenly, however. They are clustered where they are needed most, acting as high-definition scanners for the world around you. Your fingertips, for instance, contain the highest concentration of these receptors, allowing you to perceive the microscopic difference between the weave of linen and the smoothness of silk. This incredible density of sensors provides a high-resolution map of tactile information that never truly turns off. Even in the dark, your skin knows exactly where the edge of the pillow lies and how the air feels as it moves softly through the room. As you prepare for sleep, the role of these receptors shifts. They move from a state of active exploration to a state of quiet, rhythmic reassurance. Consider the simple, profound comfort of a soft blanket being pulled over your shoulders. As the fabric settles against you, thousands of those mechanoreceptors send a synchronized signal to your brain. They report that the environment is soft, the temperature is stable, and the boundaries of your body are protected. This tactile feedback is more than just a pleasant sensation. It is a biological signal of security. The brain interprets this lack of sharp or jarring stimuli as a safe signal, allowing your nervous system to further downregulate and let go of the day's tension. The weight of the fabric, the coolness of the sheets, and the way the mattress cradles your frame are all gentle inputs that ground you in the present moment. You are not just lying on a bed, you are being held by it. As you become more aware of this physical connection, you might notice that the feeling of the blanket isn't just about the texture against your skin. There is a deeper sensation at play, a feeling of weight and stillness that reaches beyond the surface and into the very core of your being. This leads us to a specific and powerful type of touch, one that speaks directly to our deepest instincts of safety and helps us feel truly anchored to the earth as we drift away. This sensation is known to scientists as deep pressure touch. It is the same soothing feeling you might experience when receiving a firm hug from a loved one, or when a heavy, comforting hand is placed on your shoulder during a difficult moment. In recent years, many people have found solace in the use of weighted blankets, and there is a beautiful biological reason why these heavy layers help us drift off so effectively. When your body feels a gentle, distributed weight, like a soft, intentional cocoon, it triggers a profound shift in your internal chemistry. This physical pressure stimulates the production of serotonin, often called the feel-good hormone. Serotonin acts as a natural stabilizer for your mood, washing away the jagged edges of the day's stress and replacing them with a sense of quiet contentment. As your serotonin levels rise, your heart rate tends to slow, and your breathing becomes more rhythmic and effortless. It is as if the weight of the blanket is physically pressing the pause button on the world outside, allowing your nervous system to transition from a state of doing to a state of being. While your skin is busy sensing the texture of the fabric, deeper systems are also at work beneath the surface. Within your muscles, tendons, and joints, you have specialized sensors called proprioceptors. These are your body's internal GPS, providing what scientists call proprioception, the sense of self-movement and body position. Even in the absolute darkness of your bedroom, with your eyes closed tight, you always know exactly where your limbs are. You know if your fingers are curled or if your legs are crossed, all thanks to these quiet internal sentinels. When you are tucked in, the steady pressure on these proprioceptors provides the brain with a constant reassuring map of your physical self. This grounding effect reduces the brain's need to stay hypervigilant. It tells your mind, you're here, you are still, you are safe. It is a form of biological anchoring that prevents the mind from drifting into restless thoughts by keeping it tethered to the physical comfort of the present moment. Let's take a moment now to lean into that feeling of being anchored. As you lie there, bring your gentle awareness down to your feet. Notice how they feel against the sheets, perhaps a bit heavy, perhaps a bit warm. Let them relax completely, feeling the mattress take their full weight. Now, move that awareness slowly up to your hands. Feel the weight of your palms and the profound stillness in your fingers. Finally, feel the broad exit of your back as it rests heavily against the bed. With every exhale, imagine your body becoming a little bit heavier, sinking just a millimeter deeper into the surface beneath you. You are perfectly supported. There is nothing you need to hold up, and nowhere else you need to be. You are simply a physical presence, resting in a space designed for your peace. As you settle into this weight, you might also begin to notice the subtle climate within your covers. While the pressure of the blanket offers security, its material also interacts with your body's natural glow of heat. The feeling of being tucked in is a delicate balance between the comfort of weight and the shifting landscape of temperature. Just as we seek the right amount of pressure to feel secure, our bodies are also constantly searching for the perfect thermal equilibrium to enter the deepest stages of rest. This leads us from the heavy embrace of touch to the invisible, drifting waves of warmth and cold that signal to our brain that it is finally time for the long, cool quiet of the night. You may have noticed that instinctive urge to seek out the cool side of the pillow in the middle of the night. It is a sensation of instant relief, a crisp, refreshing touch against your cheek that seems to clear the mind and settle the spirit. This isn't just a preference for comfort. It is a deep biological craving rooted in the way your brain prepares for rest. Within the layers of your skin, a quiet dialogue is constantly taking place between your body and the air around you. You have specialized nerve endings dedicated entirely to monitoring the ebb and flow of heat, acting as tiny thermal sentinels. One group, known as Krauss end bulbs, are your body's primary cold detectors. These tiny microscopic structures become active the moment the temperature around you begins to dip, sending a soothing signal of coolness to your brain. Working in harmony with them are the Ruffini endings, spindle-shaped receptors tucked slightly deeper in the dermis that specialize in detecting warmth and the steady stretch of the skin. Together, these receptors create a map of your thermal environment. But for sleep, the cold detectors take center stage. Science has revealed that our bodies are not meant to stay at a constant temperature throughout the 24-hour cycle. Instead, we follow a rhythmic thermal curve. As the evening deepens and you prepare for bed, your brain's internal clock begins a process of cooling the engine of your body. To initiate the deepest, most restorative stages of sleep, your core body temperature must actually drop by about 2 to 3 degrees Fahrenheit. This drop in temperature is a biological green light for sleep. It is why you might find yourself sticking a foot out from under the covers or seeking that fresh, unheated patch of fabric on your pillow. By cooling your extremities, your body is effectively venting its internal heat, allowing your core to reach that ideal lower temperature. When you sleep in a cool room, you are providing your nervous system with a powerful signal of safety and seasonal rhythm. It mimics the ancient cooling of the earth after sunset, telling your brain that the day's work is done and it is time for a period of human hibernation. In this state of lowered temperature, your metabolism slows. Your heart rate finds a steady, easy rhythm, and your brain begins its nightly maintenance. As you lie there now, perhaps you can feel the subtle difference between the warmth of your body beneath the blankets and the slight, refreshing chill of the air on your face. This contrast is a sign that your biology is working exactly as it should, ushering you toward a deeper state of quiet. But the air you are breathing carries more than just a temperature. It carries a silent, invisible language of molecules. As you take a slow, deep breath of that cool air, you are not just cooling your system, you are also inviting in the subtle sense of your environment. These microscopic traces of the world around you travel upward, bypassing the usual filters of the mind and move toward a specialized part of the brain that connects your breath to your deepest memories and emotions. This invisible world of scent is the next step in our journey toward total serenity. As that cool air moves through your nose, it carries with it a hidden world of chemistry. With every slow, steady inhale, you're inviting in the microscopic messengers of the air, tiny molecules that hold the power to change your mood in an instant. High up in your nasal cavity, tucked away behind the bridge of your nose, lies a small, specialized patch of tissue called the olfactory epithelium. Just above it sits the olfactory bulb, a remarkable structure that serves as the gateway to your most primal sensations. What makes the sense of smell so unique is its directness. When you see a starlight sky or hear the soft rustle of your sheets, those signals must first travel to a central relay station in the brain called the thalamus, a sort of switchboard that decides where the information should go. But scent is different. It is the only one of your senses that bypasses the thalamus entirely. It has a direct VIP pass to the brain's most ancient and emotional centers, the amygdala and the hippocampus. The amygdala is the heart of your emotional processing, while the hippocampus is the keeper of your memories. This physical proximity is the reason why a scent can hit you with a wave of nostalgia or a sudden sense of peace before your conscious mind even has a name for what you are smelling. A single molecule can trigger a vivid scene from a summer long ago, or a feeling of safety from your childhood acting like a key that turns the lock on a forgotten door. Though we often think of ourselves as less scent-oriented than other creatures, the human nose is a marvel of biological engineering. We possess approximately 400 different types of scent receptors. And while scientists once believed we could only detect about 10,000 smells, recent research suggests we can actually distinguish between more than 1 trillion different odors. Each breath you take is a complex data stream, a silent conversation between the environment and your subconscious. Consider the gentle herbal scent of lavender. When you breathe in its soft floral notes, you are inhaling natural compounds like linalool. These molecules are absorbed into your system and work to soothe the central nervous system, interacting with neurotransmitters to quiet the brain's internal chatter. It is a chemical lullaby, physically slowing your pulse and lowering your blood pressure. Perhaps you find a different kind of comfort in the earthy, slightly sweet scent of an old book. That fragrance comes from the slow, graceful breakdown of organic compounds in the paper and ink, releasing hints of vanilla and almond. These are scents that our brains often associate with safety, stillness, and the quiet passage of time. They tell your nervous system that you are in a place of rest, far removed from the frantic pace of the outside world. As you settle deeper into your bed, Imagine these scent molecules as tiny, invisible hands, gently smoothing over the edges of your thoughts. They are preparing your mind to let go of the day's logic and embrace the fluid, dreamlike world of rest. This invisible language of the air is always there, waiting to ground you. And as we look closer at these signals, we find that the natural world provides a wide array of these chemical messengers specifically designed to lower our stress and bring us back to a state of ancient biological peace. Beyond the calming scents of lavender or old paper, there are even more profound messengers floating in the invisible air around us. When you step into a dense ancient forest, you are breathing in more than just oxygen and the coolness of the shade. You're inhaling phytoncides. These are volatile organic compounds, essentially wood essential oils released by trees and plants as a natural defense against rot and insects. While the trees use them for protection, these chemicals act as a potent, silent medicine for the human nervous system. When you breathe in the essence of the forest, your body reacts with a deep biological sigh of relief. Scientific studies into the Japanese practice of Shinrin-yoku, or forest bathing, have shown that inhaling these phytoncides significantly lowers our levels of cortisol, the hormone responsible for stress and high alertness. But the benefits go even deeper than a simple mood shift. These forest chemicals have been shown to increase the activity of natural killer cells, a specialized type of white blood cell that forms a crucial part of our immune system. Simply by existing in the presence of trees, your body becomes more resilient, more peaceful, and more prepared for the deep restoration of sleep. Think for a moment of the specific, intoxicating smell that rises from the ground after a long-awaited summer rain. It is a scent so distinct and so universally comforting that we have a beautiful scientific word for it: petrichor. This fragrance is not the water itself, but a complex chemical reaction between the earth and the atmosphere. It is caused primarily by a chemical compound called geosmin, which is produced by a type of soil-dwelling bacteria known as actinomycetes. During dry spells, these bacteria produce spores to survive, and when raindrops finally strike the parched earth, they trap tiny bubbles of air. These bubbles then burst upward in a fine mist, carrying the scent of the soil and the life within it into the breeze. Humans are incredibly sensitive to this smell. Our ancestors relied on it to find water and fertile land, and that ancient connection still lives within you. When you smell the rain, your brain receives a signal of abundance and safety, a signal that the world is being replenished. Take a slow, quiet breath now. In your mind's eye, imagine you are standing at the edge of a quiet woodland just after a gentle rain. The air is cool and damp, heavy with the refreshing scent of pine needles, wet moss, and the dark, rich earth. Feel that air as it enters your nostrils, crisp, clean, and life-giving. It feels slightly heavier than the air in a room, a soft mist that settles deep into your lungs and cools your chest from the inside out. With every slow exhale, imagine you are releasing any lingering tightness in your jaw or your forehead, letting that tension sink away into the soft, imaginary forest floor. You are grounded. You are safe. You are part of this natural cycle of rest and renewal. This invisible language of scent is the front door to our internal world. But it does not work alone. It is inextricably linked to another of our senses, one that provides a different kind of warmth and grounding. Much of what we believe we are smelling is actually a preparation for what we are about to taste. These two systems are so closely intertwined that they often act as a single, unified sense of perception. As we move from the molecules drifting in the air to the physical sensations within the mouth, we begin to explore the gustatory system, a world of flavor that offers its own unique path to serenity and comfort. As you breathe in that cool, imaginary forest air, you might notice how the scent seems to linger on the back of your tongue, a soft reminder of the deep connection between what we smell and what we taste. In truth, what we often call flavor is not a single sensation, but a beautiful, silent partnership between the nose and the mouth. It is the work of the gustatory system, an intricate network of receptors designed to turn the chemistry of the world into a source of nourishment and comfort. Think of the tongue as a landscape, a velvety surface covered in thousands of tiny microscopic bumps. Within these bumps lie approximately 10,000 taste buds, each one a small cluster of 50 to 100 specialized sensory cells. These cells are the gatekeepers of our internal world, finely tuned to detect 5 fundamental qualities: sweet, sour, salty, bitter, and umami. Each of these serves a purpose. Sweetness often signals the presence of energy-giving carbohydrates, while saltiness helps us maintain our body's delicate mineral balance. Sourness and bitterness act as a quiet warning system, alerting us to acidity or potential toxins. And umami, that deep, savory richness found in warm broths or aged cheeses, provides a sense of fullness and satisfaction. Your taste buds are remarkably resilient, living through a constant cycle of birth and renewal. In a quiet act of biological healing, these cells regenerate themselves every 10 to 14 days. It is a subtle, ongoing process of restoration that happens without you ever having to think about it. Interestingly, our sense of taste is actually most acute when what we are consuming is close to our own body temperature. This is perhaps why a warm herbal tea feels so fundamentally soothing as the night deepens. Imagine, for a moment, the sensation of a warm ceramic mug held between your palms. The steam rises in slow, lazy curls, carrying the faint earthy sweetness of chamomile or the floral whisper of lavender. As you take a small, quiet sip, the liquid is not too hot, not too cold, just a gentle, radiating warmth. This warmth allows the flavors to unfold more fully across your palate, sending a rhythmic signal of safety and relaxation to your brain. The familiarity of these flavors creates a comfort that acts as a physical anchor, grounding you in the present moment. As you swallow, feel that warmth travel slowly down, a soft wave of heat that settles in the center of your chest. This marks the end of our journey through the 5 traditional senses, the windows through which we observe the world around us. But our perception does not stop at the surface of the skin. Deep within the hidden architecture of your body, there are other, more mysterious senses. These are the internal guides that help you understand where you are in the silence of the dark and how your body is functioning from the inside out. To find them, we must look deeper into the quiet chambers of the head, to a place where balance and stillness are born. Deep within the temporal bone of your skull, tucked away behind the delicate mechanisms of hearing we explored earlier, lies a masterwork of biological engineering. This is the vestibular system, your hidden sense of balance. While we often think of our senses as things that look outward, this system looks inward and downward, tethering you to the very core of the Earth's gravity. It is the reason you can close your eyes in a pitch-black room and still know exactly which way is up and which way is down. This silent navigator works tirelessly throughout the day, ensuring every step is steady and every movement is coordinated. But it is in the quiet of the night that we can truly feel its stabilizing influence. This system is comprised of 3 tiny looped structures called the semicircular canals. Imagine 3 miniature glass rings, each oriented in a different direction. One for the vertical plane, one for the horizontal, and one for the diagonal. These canals are filled with a specialized fluid called endolymph. As you move your head, this fluid lags behind slightly due to inertia, brushing against microscopic hair cells that line the canals. These hairs send a constant rhythmic stream of electrical data to your brain, acting as a silent GPS that updates your position in space thousands of times every second. Whether you are nodding off or simply adjusting your pillow, these loops are whispering your orientation to the mind. But there is something even more fascinating hidden in the 2 small sacs at the base of these canals, known as the utricle and the sacculae. Resting upon a bed of sensory hairs are millions of microscopic calcium carbonate crystals, known as otoconia. These are, quite literally, tiny ear stones. Because these crystals have mass, they are uniquely sensitive to the invisible, heavy pull of gravity. When you tilt your head or accelerate, these tiny stones shift ever so slightly, bending the hair cells beneath them. This is how your brain perceives the weight of your own body and the constant, reassuring presence of the ground beneath you. It is a grounding force that keeps you connected to the world, even when your eyes are closed. As you lie here now, perfectly still, the fluid in those canals is coming to a complete rest. The otoconia have settled into their neutral positions, signaling to your brain that there is no longer a need for constant adjustment or balance. This stillness creates a unique sensory phenomenon. Have you ever felt, just as you begin to drift off, a momentary sensation of floating? Or perhaps the feeling that your bed is slowly rotating or drifting like a boat on a calm, dark lake? This is your vestibular system gently powering down its high alert monitoring. In the absence of external movement, the brain sometimes interprets the lack of signal as a weightless drift, a soft, pleasant untethering from the physical world that allows you to transition from the heaviness of the day into the lightness of the sleep. It is a profound sense of peace to know that even in total darkness, your body knows exactly where it is, held securely by the physics of the planet. But as we let go of our orientation in the room and the pull of gravity, our attention naturally begins to turn even further inward. Beyond the sense of balance and the position of our limbs lies a deeper, quieter awareness. This is the world of interoception, the subtle, constant conversation between your brain and your internal organs. It is the sense of the self from the inside out, where we begin to listen not to the world, but to the very rhythm of our own life, starting with the quiet, steady pulse that sustains us. Imagine you are a silent observer, sitting quietly within your own chest. While the world outside has faded into a soft blur, your internal world remains very much alive, operating on a clock that never stops and a rhythm that never falters. This is the realm of interoception, often referred to by scientists as our hidden sense. While our more famous senses, sight, sound, and touch, look outward to tell us about the light, the noise, and the textures of the environment, interoception looks inward. It is the brain's constant, dedicated monitoring system for your internal landscape. It is the quiet intelligence that allows you to feel the state of your body from the inside out. Your brain is currently receiving a continuous, high-speed stream of data from your heart, your lungs, your stomach, and your circulatory system. This information isn't just about biological maintenance. It is the very foundation of how we experience our emotions. Have you ever felt butterflies in your stomach when you were nervous, or a heavy feeling in your chest when you were sad? These aren't just metaphors. They are interoceptive signals. Scientists have discovered that individuals with a high level of interoceptive awareness, those who can naturally and accurately sense their own heartbeat without checking their pulse, tend to be more deeply in tune with their emotional needs. Because they can hear the very first subtle signs of physical tension or ease, they are often better equipped to regulate their stress and respond to their own feelings with intuitive kindness. In the stillness of your room, this internal map becomes much clearer. Without the distractions of sunlight, screens, or conversation, you can begin to perceive the subtle, rhythmic work your body performs for you every second of every day. If it feels comfortable, you might gently place a hand over the center of your chest, or perhaps just let your mind wander there. Focus on the slow, steady expansion of your rib cage as you breathe, and then beneath that, notice the muffled, reliable drumbeat of your heart. It is a soft, thumping cadence that has been with you since months before you were born. It does not ask for your permission to beat. It does not require your conscious effort to sustain itself. It simply works, a tireless engine of life that continues its faithful service even while you drift into the deepest levels of sleep. Each beat of your heart sends a tiny, microscopic wave of pressure through your entire frame, a ripple of energy that reaches from the crown of your head to the tips of your toes. As you focus on this internal rhythm, you may find that it naturally begins to slow down. Your heart rate and your breathing are like two dancers, always moving in perfect sync. As your breath becomes longer and more rhythmic, your heart follows suit, entering a state of peaceful coherence. This synchronicity is a signal to your brain that the all clear has been given. This internal conversation doesn't happen by accident. There is a specific pathway, a biological bridge that allows your heart and your brain to stay so perfectly aligned. This connection is facilitated by a remarkable structure, a massive branching nerve that acts as a superhighway for serenity. It is the longest and most complex of the cranial nerves, wandering from the base of your brain all the way down into the depths of your abdomen, touching every major organ along the way to whisper messages of safety and calm. This is the vagus nerve, the body's primary tool for manually switching off the noise of the day and turning on the deep restorative response of the night. This wandering nerve, as its Latin name suggests, is the 10th and longest of the cranial nerves, and it acts as the body's primary brake pedal. Imagine for a moment that your nervous system is a complex machine that has been running at high speed all through the day, processing sounds, sights, and tasks. The vagus nerve is the mechanism that gently, firmly presses down on the accelerator's release, allowing the gears to slow and the engine of your body to cool. It does not stay in one isolated location. It travels from the brainstem through the neck and down into the chest and abdomen, branching out like the silver roots of a willow tree to touch your heart, your lungs, and your digestive tract. As it wanders, it carries a constant stream of sensory information back and forth. It is a two-way street of serenity. When the vagus nerve is active, it sends signals to the heart to beat more slowly and with more variability, which is a hallmark of a healthy, resilient system. It tells the tiny muscles in your airway to relax, allowing for deeper, more effortless breaths. It even reaches down into the gut, signaling that it is safe to divert energy away from the muscles and toward the quiet, essential process of digestion and nutrient absorption. Scientific research refers to the strength or activity of this nerve as your vagal tone. A high vagal tone is associated with a greater ability to relax after a stressful event and a more robust immune system. But perhaps the most beautiful aspect of this biology is that you can influence it yourself. You can actually increase your vagal tone through the simple act of intentional rhythmic breathing. When you take a long, slow breath out, making your exhale just a few beats longer than your inhale, you are physically stimulating the vagus nerve. In response to that stretch, the nerve releases a soothing neurotransmitter called acetylcholine. This chemical acts like a cooling balm on the heart, signaling the heart's natural pacemaker to slow its tempo. It is a profound realization. We possess the biological power to manually turn on our own relaxation response. We are not merely waiting for sleep to arrive, we are using our breath to flip the switch. By simply slowing the air as it leaves your body, you are sending a high-priority message through this neural highway that reaches the brain's emotional centers, telling them that the environment is safe, the body is secure, and the time for vigilance has passed. This internal communication is so powerful that it can override the lingering echoes of the day's worries. The vagus nerve is the lead conductor of a much larger, incredibly sophisticated orchestra known as the parasympathetic nervous system. While the world outside might demand action, this internal system is dedicated entirely to the quiet work of restoration. It is the silent partner of your well-being, waiting for the moment you settle into your blankets to begin its most important work. As the vagus nerve takes the lead, it ushers you into a state where the body no longer needs to defend itself, but can finally begin to heal. Imagine your body's nervous system as a delicate, ancient balance scale, always seeking a point at a perfect equilibrium. On one side of this scale sits the sympathetic nervous system, famously known as the fight or flight response. This system is a marvel of evolution, designed to sharpen your senses, quicken your pulse, and prepare your muscles for action whenever the world demands it. But as you lie here, the weights are shifting. The demands of the day are falling away, and that side of the scale is rising, becoming lighter and less influential. In its place, the other side, the parasympathetic nervous system, is gently descending, taking its rightful position as the guardian of your rest. This is the rest and digest system, and its arrival is a profound physical relief. While the sympathetic system is about spending energy, the parasympathetic system is entirely about conservation and restoration. It is the body's internal maintenance crew, coming out only when the all clear has been signaled. When this system dominates, a series of fascinating quiet transformations take place within you. Your pupils, which may have been wide and alert earlier to take in every detail of a busy world, now begin to constrict. This narrowing is a biological signal of safety. You no longer need to scan the horizon for movement. Your world has become small, soft, and close. As you feel the weight of your limbs, your heart rate continues to slow, finding a steady, rhythmic cadence that requires very little effort. Your blood, which was once diverted to your arms and legs to prepare for movement, now flows back toward the center of your being. It moves toward your core, nourishing your internal organs and allowing your digestive system to resume its quiet, methodical work. This is why a sense of warmth often spreads through the torso as you relax. It is the physical manifestation of your body shifting its resources from outward action to inward healing. In this parasympathetic state, the body isn't just resting, it is actively rebuilding. It uses these quiet hours to repair tissues, synthesize proteins, and reset the delicate chemical balances that keep your immune system strong. It is a time of profound cellular housekeeping that can only occur when the fight or flight signals have been completely silenced. You can think of sleep as the ultimate parasympathetic state, the destination that your body has been traveling toward since the moment you began to wind down. It is the peak of your body's ability to care for itself. But for this system to truly flourish and lead you into the deepest levels of rest, it requires a specific chemical signal, a messenger that tells every cell in your body that the sun has set and the time for vigilance has ended. This transition from the physical mechanics of relaxation to the deep chemistry of sleep begins with a single, remarkable molecule that waits for the shadows to grow long. It is a signal triggered by the creeping darkness, a quiet herald of the night that prepares the kul to let go of the world entirely. This messenger, this quiet herald of the night, is a molecule known to science as melatonin. It is often affectionately called the vampire hormone, not because it is something to fear, but because it is biologically bound to the shadows. It only emerges from its hiding place when the world goes dark. While you are busy moving through your day, melatonin remains tucked away, waiting for the precise moment when the light begins to fail and the environment signals that the time for action has passed. Deep within the center of your brain, nestled safely between the two hemispheres, lies a tiny pine cone-shaped structure called the pineal gland. For most of your waking hours, this gland remains dormant, almost invisible in its stillness. However, it is constantly receiving updates from a specialized group of cells in your eyes. These cells aren't interested in the shapes or colors of the world. They are only interested in the presence of blue wavelength light, the kind of light that characterizes a bright, clear sky. When that light hits your retina, it sends a message to your brain's master clock, which in turn tells the pineal gland to hold back. But as the evening deepens and the blue light of the day fades into the warm ambers of sunset, and eventually the velvet black of night, the brakes are released. The pineal gland begins to secrete melatonin into your bloodstream, where it travels like a cooling, invisible mist through every corner of your body. It is a common misconception that melatonin is a powerful sedative that forces the brain into unconsciousness. In reality, its role is far more poetic and subtle. It is a chronobiological signal, a conductor of a vast internal orchestra. Melatonin doesn't knock you out. Instead, it informs your body that the sleep window is now open. And it tells your heart to slow its beat, your core temperature to begin its gentle descent, and your mind to start untethering itself from the logic of the waking world. It is the biological equivalent of dimming the lights in a grand theater before the performance begins. It creates the perfect internal environment for sleep to take hold, ensuring that every organ and every cell is in sync with the rotation of the earth. As you lie here in the stillness, try to visualize this process happening within you. Imagine a soft, velvet wave of deep indigo darkness gently washing over your mind. With every slow, steady breath you take, feel this wave receding and returning, carrying away the remnants of the day's noise and activity. There is no rush and no urgency. You are simply allowing the natural chemistry of the night to do its work, trusting in the ancient rhythm that has guided living things for millions of years. Your body knows exactly what to do. You only need to provide the quiet and the darkness it asks for. While melatonin is the guardian of the dark, it exists in a delicate rhythmic dance with another powerful chemical, one that belongs to the light. To truly appreciate the profound peace of this moment, we must look at the partner that melatonin has spent the last several hours gently pushing aside. This is the hormone of the morning, the driver of our daytime energy, which must now reach its lowest, quietest point so that you can truly let go. This is the story of cortisol, the hormone of alertness, and the vital role its departure plays in the deep silence of the night. Cortisol is often misunderstood as merely a stress hormone, but in the natural rhythm of your life, it is actually the spark of the morning. It is your internal sunrise. As the dawn breaks and the first hints of light filter through your eyelids, your brain triggers a surge of cortisol, reaching its highest peak shortly after you wake. This is known as the cortisol awakening response, a biological go signal that sharpens your focus, raises your blood pressure slightly, and prepares your muscles for the movement of the day. It is the fuel that carries you through the morning hours, keeping you alert and engaged with the requirements of the world. But as the sun begins its slow descent, the story of cortisol changes. In a healthy, balanced rhythm, these levels should begin to taper off, gradually declining as the afternoon turns to evening. By the time the world outside grows quiet and you find yourself here, resting in the softness of your bed, your cortisol levels are meant to be reaching their lowest possible point. Scientists call this the nadir, the valley of the curve. It is at this moment, usually around midnight, that the body is finally permitted to turn its attention entirely away from the external world and toward the deep internal work of restoration. However, our modern world often asks us to keep that internal light burning long after it should have dimmed. When we experience chronic stress or the frantic pace of a busy life, our bodies can struggle to turn off the cortisol faucet. This is why you might sometimes feel wired but tired. Your mind is exhausted, but your biology is still acting as if there is a challenge to meet or a task to complete. This is why this time you take for yourself. This quiet winding down is not just a comfort. It is a biological necessity. By choosing to be still, by listening to the calm cadence of these words, you're sending a physical signal to your adrenal glands that the day is truly over. You are giving your body permission to let that last bit of alertness evaporate into the cool night air. Feel the relief in that realization. There is nothing left to solve tonight. There is no urgency required of you. As your cortisol levels continue to dip, feel the tension leaving your shoulders, your jaw, and the small muscles around your eyes. It is as if a heavy weight you've been carrying all day has finally been set down on the floor. You are becoming lighter, softer, and more deeply anchored in the present moment. The chemical noise of the day is fading into a profound cellular silence, allowing the restorative systems of your body to take the lead. With the hormones of the day receding and the hormones of the night taking their place, the very language of your brain begins to change. We move now from the world of chemistry, of molecules and fluids, into the world of electricity. Your brain is a vast network of billions of neurons, all communicating through tiny, rhythmic pulses of energy. As you drift closer to the edge of sleep, these pulses begin to slow down, shifting their rhythm like a song moving into a deeper, more resonant key. This is the beginning of the electrical journey of the night, where we leave behind the frantic frequencies of the waking mind and enter the gentle, rolling waves of the dreaming one. It is a common misconception that the brain simply shuts down when we sleep. In reality, it is humming with activity, just of a different kind. Imagine a busy city street during the day, filled with the rapid, jagged sounds of traffic, footsteps, and overlapping conversations. As night falls, the city doesn't disappear. The sounds simply change. The frantic honking is replaced by the low, steady hum of the wind through the buildings and the distant rhythmic pulse of a lighthouse. This is exactly what happens in your mind. Your brain is not turning off. It is simply changing its frequency. When you are wide awake, solving problems or navigating the world, your brain operates primarily in beta waves, fast, choppy electrical pulses that indicate an alert and focused state. But as you lie here, with your eyes closed and your body still, you have already begun to transition into alpha waves. These are the bridge, the gentle gateway between the waking world and the deep sea of sleep. Alpha waves occur at a frequency of 8 to 13 hertz. That is 8 to 13 rhythmic pulses every second. It is a slower, more musical pace than the staccato rhythm of the day. Scientists have found that alpha waves are the signature of a calm, quiet mind. They are the same waves that appear when a person meditates or when an artist enters a flow state, where time seems to disappear and the sense of self fades into the background. By simply closing your eyes and letting your muscles relax, you are inviting your brain to produce these alpha waves. You are signaling to your nervous system that the external data, the light, the movement, the demands of others, is no longer being processed. You are turning inward, moving from a state of doing to a state of being. As these alpha waves take over, you might notice a very specific, pleasant sensation. It is a fuzzy feeling in the mind, a softening of the internal landscape. Your thoughts, which were so sharp and logical just an hour ago, start to lose their hard edges. They become loose, more abstract, and effortlessly nonlinear. You might find yourself thinking about the texture of a leaf, and then suddenly the leaf becomes a cloud, and the cloud becomes a memory of a soft childhood blanket. This is not a mistake of the mind. It is the brain beginning to untie the knots of logic, allowing the imagination to drift freely. It is a state of deep, effortless relaxation where you are no longer thinking so much as you are experiencing the gentle flow of your own consciousness. This mental softness is the hallmark of the alpha state. It's as if the rigid architecture of your daily life, the schedules, the names, the to-do lists, is being replaced by a watercolor painting where the colors are beginning to bleed into one another in the most beautiful, restorative way. You're not quite asleep, yet you are no longer fully tethered to the room around you. You are in the quiet waiting room of the subconscious. Take a slow, deep breath and feel the weight of your head sinking into the pillow, matching this downward shift in your internal rhythm. Enjoy this lightness. There is no need to hold on to any single thought or try to make sense of the images floating by. Let them pass like feathers on a slow breeze. You are perfectly safe here, suspended on this golden bridge of alpha. But as the stream of your consciousness continues to flow, it carries you further away from the shore of wakefulness. The rhythms of your brain are slowing even more, preparing to descend from the light meditation of alpha into a deeper, more mysterious realm. We are moving now toward the soft, rolling swells of the theta waves, where the true magic of the night begins to take shape. As the gentle waves of alpha begin to lengthen and slow, you find yourself descending into a deeper, more mysterious state of consciousness. This is the realm of theta waves, a stage of sleep often called the twilight zone, or the borderland, between the waking world and the world of dreams. Here, the brain's electrical activity slows even further, oscillating at a rhythm of about 4 to 7 hertz. In this quiet, rhythmic space, you enter a state known as hypnagogia. It is a fleeting, magical window where the mind is still partially aware, but the logic of the day has completely dissolved. You might see vivid, dreamlike imagery, flashes of geometric patterns, faces of people you haven't thought of in years, or landscapes that seem to glow with an internal light. These are not full dreams yet, but dreamlets, tiny fragments of the subconscious rising to the surface to greet you. In this theta state, your brain begins the vital work of emotional housekeeping. While you rest, your mind is quietly sorting through the feelings and experiences of the day. It's as if a gentle librarian is moving through the halls of your memory, deciding which emotions to file away and which to let go of. This process is why a problem that felt insurmountable in the afternoon often feels manageable and distant the next morning. You're not just resting, you are healing your inner world, allowing the sharp edges of stress to be smoothed over by the rhythmic pulse of your own biology. Interestingly, this state is also a powerhouse for creativity. Many of history's greatest thinkers and artists sought out this specific theta window. They knew that when the rigid filters of the conscious mind are relaxed, the brain can make unexpected, brilliant connections. This is the time of creative breakthroughs, where the aha moments of the day are finally allowed to bloom in the silence. It is a space of pure potential, where your thoughts are no longer bound by what is possible, but are free to wander through the infinite landscape of the imagination. As you drift deeper into this twilight, you might experience a curious sensation that occasionally startles the body back to a moment of awareness. This is the hypnic jerk, that sudden, involuntary feeling of falling or a quick twitch of a limb just as you are about to lose consciousness. While it can feel surprising, it is a perfectly natural and harmless muscle reflex. Scientists believe it happens because your muscles relax so quickly and completely that the brain, in its half-asleep state, momentarily misinterprets the sensation as a sign that the body is falling. It is simply a final, protective check-in from your nervous system before it fully lets go. It is a sign that you are doing everything right, that your body is successfully surrendering to the pull of the night. Take a slow, quiet breath and let that sensation of surrender carry you even further. The vivid images of hypnagogia are beginning to fade, and the light patterns behind your eyelids are growing darker and more still. The theta waves, which carried you through the realm of creativity and emotion, are now stretching out even longer, becoming the slow, powerful swells of a deep ocean. You are leaving the world of imagery behind and moving toward a place of profound silent stillness. We are descending now into the deepest level of all, the slow wave sleep of the delta state, where the mind goes quiet so the body can truly begin to renew itself. As you descend further into the quiet, your brain waves continue to stretch and slow, moving from the rhythmic pulses of theta into the deep rolling swells of delta waves. These are the slowest and most powerful of all brain waves, characterized by their high amplitude and steady low frequency. If your brain's activity during the day is like a busy city street, delta sleep is like the vast, silent expanse of a desert at midnight. Everything is still. Everything is quiet. In this state, the conscious mind essentially steps aside, allowing the body to take center stage for its most vital work. This is the realm of deep, dreamless sleep, the foundation upon which your physical health is built. While your mind is resting in a state of near total stillness, your body is incredibly active. This is the time of profound physical restoration. During these long, slow delta waves, your pituitary gland releases a surge of growth hormone. This isn't just important for children who are growing, it is essential for adults as well. This hormone is the body's primary tool for repairing tissues, building muscle, and regenerating cells that have been worn down by the stresses of the day. Every tiny tear in a muscle fiber, every cell that needs a bit of maintenance, is attended to during this window of deep sleep. It is as if a silent team of expert craftsmen moves through your body while you are unaware, polishing, mending, and reinforcing your physical form. Your immune system also finds its greatest strength here. During delta sleep, the body produces and releases cytokines, which are proteins that help the immune system respond to threats. Without enough time in this deep state, the body's ability to defend itself and recover from illness is significantly weakened. By simply lying here, letting the slow waves of delta wash over you, you are giving your body the resources it needs to keep you healthy and resilient. You are participating in a biological ritual of renewal that has kept living beings thriving for millions of years. There is a unique kind of peace found in this stage of sleep, a profound non-existence. In delta sleep, there are no dreams to navigate, no memories to sort through, and no sense of time passing. You are simply being, held in a state of absolute safety and stillness. For many, this is the most restorative part of the entire night, because it is the only time the ego and the self truly go quiet. The worries of who you are, what you have done, and what you must do tomorrow simply do not exist in the delta state. You are weightless, timorless, and perfectly at rest. Even as your muscles relax and your breath becomes a slow, steady anchor, a different kind of activity is beginning within the hidden corridors of your mind. While the delta waves facilitate the healing of your muscles and organs, your brain is preparing for its own internal maintenance. Just as a city's streets are cleaned in the quiet hours of the night, your brain has its own specialized system for tidying up. This process is just as vital as the physical repair of your body, ensuring that when you eventually open your eyes, your mind feels as fresh and clear as the morning air. It is a biological plumbing system, a gentle washing of the very cells that hold your thoughts, known as the glymphatic system. Imagine a quiet city after midnight. The streets are empty, the lights are dim, and a gentle rain begins to fall, washing away the dust and grit of a busy day. Inside your head, something very similar is happening right now. While your body remains still and your breathing serves as a rhythmic anchor, your brain is engaging in its own version of a nightly deep clean. This is the work of the glymphatic system, a specialized waste clearance pathway that only truly kicks into high gear when you are fast asleep. It is a biological plumbing system of incredible precision, ensuring that your most vital organ remains healthy and vibrant. To understand this process, imagine the cerebrospinal fluid, a clear, life-giving liquid that surrounds your brain and spinal cord. During the day, This fluid mostly stays on the periphery, acting as a protective cushion. But as you descend into the deep stages of sleep, a remarkable transformation occurs. The brain's architecture actually shifts. The glial cells, which provide support and protection for your neurons, begin to shrink ever so slightly. This isn't a sign of fatigue, but a deliberate and brilliant design. As these cells contract, the space between them, the interstitial space, increases by as much as 60%. This expansion turns what were once narrow, crowded alleys into broad, open boulevards. This allows the cerebrospinal fluid to surge deep into the brain tissue in a gentle, pulsing tide. As it flows through these witty-netted channels, it acts like a refreshing stream, picking up and carrying away the metabolic debris left behind by a day of intense mental activity. One of the most important substances it rinses away is a protein called beta amyloid. Think of your brain during the day as a bustling office. Beta amyloid is the scrap paper, the coffee cups, and the dust that naturally accumulates as work gets done. If this waste isn't cleared, it builds up, eventually cluttering the workspace and making it harder for the office to function. But tonight, while you rest, the cleaning crew is thorough, ensuring every corner is swept clean. This is why, after a night of deep and restorative sleep, you wake up feeling clear-headed. This isn't just a poetic phrase, it is a physical reality. Your brain has been literally rinsed of the chemical fog that accumulates during your waking hours. That sense of mental sharpness, that feeling of being refreshed and ready to face the world, is the direct result of this silent, liquid rhythm working perfectly while you were unaware. You are waking up with a clean slate, both figuratively and biologically. But as the cleaning crew finishes its work in the deep, quiet corners of your physiology, the brain begins to stir in a different way. The slow, heavy waves of delta sleep that facilitated this deep cleaning start to shift. The physical maintenance of the building is well underway, and now the mind prepares for its emotional and creative processing. We are moving away from the deep, dreamless silence of the basement and up into the theater of the mind, where the lights are about to dim for a very different kind of performance. We are approaching the threshold of REM sleep, the vivid, mysterious world of dreams. As the deep cleaning of the delta waves begins to taper, your brain enters a state that is both frantic and fascinating. This is REM sleep, or rapid eye movement sleep. If someone were to look at a monitor of your brain waves right now, they might think you were wide awake. Your heart rate increases slightly, your breathing becomes a bit more irregular, and behind your closed lids, your eyes begin to dart back and forth, as if watching a private, invisible cinema. In this stage, your brain is almost as active as it is when you are navigating the complexities of your day. It is a vibrant electrical symphony occurring in the heart of the night, a period often referred to as paradoxical sleep because of the contrast between a bustling mind and a resting body. But there is a beautiful protective design at play here. While your mind is racing through vivid landscapes and impossible scenarios, your body remains perfectly still. To keep you safe while you explore these internal worlds, your brain performs a remarkable feat called muscle atonia. It sends a specific signal down the spinal cord that effectively relaxes your large muscle groups into a state of temporary, gentle immobility. This is nature's way of ensuring that when you dream of running through a meadow or reaching for the stars, your physical body stays tucked safely and quietly beneath the covers. You're a passenger in a vessel that has dropped its anchor, allowing the mind to sail away into the horizon of imagination without ever moving the ship from its harbor. Every night, you spend roughly 2 hours in this dreaming state, though it usually happens in several cycles that grow longer and more intense as the morning approaches. Even if you wake up with no memory of where you've been, the work has been done. Dreaming is far more than just a nightly entertainment. It serves as a vital emotional thermostat. During REM sleep, your brain processes the stresses, the joys, and the anxieties of the day. It takes the raw, often sharp edges of your experiences and gently blunts them. It's as if your mind is filing away the lessons of the day while letting go of the emotional weight that often accompanies difficult moments. You are essentially performing a form of nightly restoration, waking up with a perspective that is slightly more balanced and a spirit that is slightly lighter. In this theater of the mind, the usual rules of the physical world no longer apply. Gravity might loosen its grip, and the logic of your surroundings might shift with the fluidity of water. But perhaps the most mysterious part of this journey is how your mind perceives the passage of the hours. In the dream world, a single moment can stretch out into what feels like an eternity, while hours of real rest can seem to vanish in the blink of an eye. As we drift further into the night, we begin to lose our grip on the ticking of the clock, entering a space where time itself becomes a soft, malleable thing, stretching and folding in ways that the waking mind can hardly comprehend. Time is a strange traveler in the night. Have you ever closed your eyes for what felt like a brief, heavy blink, only to find that the sun is already beginning to peek through the curtains? Or perhaps you have drifted off for a 10-minute rest that felt as though you lived an entire lifetime in a distant, hazy land. This elastic nature of 10 is one of the most profound experiences of the sleeping mind. While our waking life is often governed by the rigid, unforgiving ticking of clocks and the steady, predictable movement of shadows, our sleeping consciousness follows a different rhythm entirely, one that stretches and folds like silk. Deep within the center of your brain, there is a master timekeeper that works tirelessly to keep your internal world in sync with the universe outside. This is a tiny, grain-sized region known as the suprachiasmatic nucleus. Though the name is long and complex, its function is beautifully simple. It is the conductor of your biological symphony. This master clock is a specialized cluster of approximately 20,000 neurons located within the hypothalamus, sitting just above the point where the optic nerves cross. Because of this strategic location, it is perfectly positioned to receive direct information about the light levels in your environment. These neurons are incredibly sensitive, acting as a bridge between the rotation of the Earth and the chemistry of your cells. They use what scientists call Zeitgebers, a German word meaning time givers, to calibrate your body's rhythms. The most powerful of these is light, but your internal clock also listens to the subtle shifts in your body temperature and the timing of your meals. As the evening deepens and the light fades, these 20,000 neurons signal the rest of your system to slow down, lowering your heart rate and preparing your mind for the transition into the quiet hours. But once you are fully submerged in sleep, the conscious tracking of time begins to dissolve. The parts of your brain that usually measure the passing of seconds and minutes, keeping you punctual and aware of the day's pace, take a well-deserved break. This is why, in the depths of a dream or the profound stillness of deep sleep, time can feel both infinite and instantaneous. Without the constant input of the outside world, your brain processes experiences at its own pace, unburdened by the constraints of the mechanical clock. 10 minutes of dreaming can contain a complex narrative that feels as though it lasted for hours, because your mind is no longer measuring time by the sun, but by the richness of its own internal imagery. Right now, there is no need to know what time it is. The minutes are passing softly, like fallen leaves floating down a slow-moving dark stream. You can let go of the pressure of the schedule, the deadlines of tomorrow, and the habit of counting the hours remaining until you must rise. Let the clock on the wall or the numbers on a screen fade into the background until they are nothing more than a faint, rhythmic heartbeat of the heart. You are here, in this singular moment of rest, and that is the only now that matters. As the concept of time slips away, you may notice another sensation taking its place, a deep physical awareness of the space you occupy. In the darkness, when your eyes are closed and the visual world has vanished, your perception of your own body begins to shift. You might feel a sense of weightlessness, as if the boundaries between your skin and the air are softening, allowing you to merge with the comfort of your bed. At the same time, you're acutely aware of the steady, unwavering pull of the earth beneath you. It is the silent, grounding force of gravity, a constant, invisible embrace that keeps you safe and still, anchoring you to the world even as your mind prepares to drift toward the stars. This feeling of being anchored is not just a trick of the mind. It is a sophisticated, silent dialogue between your brain and the physical laws of the universe. Even as you lie perfectly still, a remarkable system known as the vestibular ocular reflex is at work. In your waking hours, this reflex is what allows your eyes to stay fixed on a single point, even while your head is moving. It is the biological equivalent of a high-tech camera stabilizer. But now, in the stillness of your room, with your eyes gently closed, this system shifts its focus. It no longer needs to stabilize your vision. Instead, it provides a profound sense of stasis. Because you aren't moving, the fluid in your inner ear becomes as still as a mountain lake, sending a clear, unwavering signal to your brain you are at rest, you are safe. Your brain is currently performing a quiet, miraculous feat of integration. It is gathering data from every point of contact your body makes with the bed. The pressure against your heels, the curve of your spine, and the weight of your head against the pillow all serve as coordinates. This is how your mind creates a sense of place in the dark. But there's a deeper layer to this map. In the absence of visual cues, When you can no longer see the floor or the ceiling, your brain relies on a more primal source of information to determine which way is down. It listens to the pull of gravity on your internal organs. It may sound strange, but our bodies possess what scientists sometimes call graviceptors outside of the inner ear. These are specialized sensors in our torso and around our major blood vessels that detect the subtle shifts in the weight of our internal systems. As you lie on your back or your side, your heart, your lungs, and your digestive organs settle ever so slightly toward the earth. Your brain interprets this microscopic shift as a definitive signal of direction. Even in the deepest darkness, your body knows exactly where the center of the earth is. There is a profound security in this realization. You're not just lying in a room, you are being held by the immense mass of the planet. Every atom of your body is in a constant, gentle conversation with the gravity of the earth. It is a fundamental bond that has existed since the moment you were born and will continue every second of your life. This invisible force acts like a heavy, warm blanket that never slips away, ensuring that you remain grounded and secure. You don't have to do anything to stay attached to the world. The world is quite literally reaching out to hold you. As you feel this connection to the Earth's mass, you might notice a sense of settling that goes beyond the physical. It is as if your very cells are aligning with the quiet rhythm of the ground beneath you. This physical groundedness serves as the foundation for a much deeper, more intricate state of being. Your body is moving away from the chaos of the external world and toward a state of perfect internal equilibrium. It is an ancient biological quest for balance, a symphony of chemical and electrical signals working in unison to ensure that every breath, every heartbeat, and every thought is in total alignment. We are transitioning now into a space of true biological harmony, where the body's wisdom takes over entirely, guiding you toward a state of absolute serenity, homeostasis. It is a beautiful word for a beautiful process, the body's constant, unwavering quest for perfect balance. Even as you lie here, seemingly still and silent, there is a magnificent, invisible symphony playing within you. Your body is never truly off. Instead, it is shifting its resources, fine-tuning its instruments, and seeking a state of absolute serenity. This internal balancing act is the reason you can let go of the day. You don't have to remind your heart to beat, or your lungs to expand, or your cells to repair themselves. There is a master conductor at the podium of your subconscious, ensuring that every note is played with precision. As your breathing slows, your brain is constantly monitoring the chemistry of your blood, making microscopic adjustments to the depth and rhythm of each inhale. If the room grows a little cooler, or if your blanket traps a bit more heat, your body responds instantly. In fact, at this very moment, your body is performing millions of chemical reactions every single second just to maintain its internal environment. It is regulating your pH levels, managing your glucose, and most importantly for sleep, carefully guarding your core temperature. This process is so sophisticated that it can detect changes of a fraction of a degree, triggering subtle shifts in blood flow to keep your vital organs in their ideal state of comfort. Think of this as a quiet, internal gardener, constantly weeding out imbalances and nurturing a landscape of calm. This biological wisdom is far older and more experienced than your conscious mind. It has kept you alive through every night of your life, working tirelessly in the shadows so that you can enjoy the luxury of rest. When we struggle to fall asleep, it is often because our minds are trying to do the body's job, trying to force a state of relaxation or solve the problem of wakefulness. But homeostasis reminds us that the body already knows the way home. It is programmed for health. It is wired for recovery. There is a profound relief in this realization. You are allowed to be a passenger. You can step back from the controls and trust the vessel. Your heart knows exactly how many times it needs to beat per minute to keep you safe. Your nervous system knows exactly when to dampen the noise of the world. By recognizing the power of homeostasis, you give yourself permission to surrender. You are not responsible for the complex chemistry of your survival right now. Your only task is to exist, to breathe, and to observe the quiet hum of your own existence. As you settle into this trust, the rest and digest signals of your parasympathetic system begin to bloom like flowers in the dark. This internal harmony isn't just about physical survival. It creates the perfect emotional climate for sleep. When the body feels balanced, the brain feels safe. And when the brain feels safe, it begins to release a different kind of magic, a chemical embrace that softens the edges of the world even further. This sense of being held by your own biology is about to deepen as we move from the mechanical balance of the body to the warm, soothing chemistry of connection. We are beginning to tap into a wellspring of natural comfort, a hormone that acts as a bridge between the physical sensation of touch and the emotional feeling of peace. As you rest in this state of biological trust, your brain begins to secrete a small but powerful peptide known as oxytocin. While it is often called the cuddle hormone or the bonding molecule, because of its role in human connection, its function in the quiet, solitary hours of the night is perhaps its most profound act of kindness. Oxytocin is a chemical messenger of peace. It is the biological opposite of the stress response, acting as a natural sedative that gently lowers your blood pressure and coaxes your heart into a slower, more rhythmic pace. It is the body's way of saying that the world is, for this moment, exactly as it should be. You might feel this chemical shift as a sudden, warm wave of comfort when you adjust your position or pull your blanket a little higher. This sensation of physical comfort, the softness of a pillow against your cheek, the heavy warmth of a comforter, or even the gentle weight of a sleeping pet at the foot of the bed, is a powerful trigger for oxytocin release. Your nervous system interprets these tactile signals as signs of safety and protection. In the ancient language of our ancestors, being tucked in or feeling pressure against the skin meant that we were not alone, that we were sheltered and secure from the elements. Even now, your brain responds to the simple texture of your sheets by flooding your system with this sense of well-being. Scientifically, one of the most remarkable things about oxytocin is its ability to inhibit the amygdala. The amygdala is the small almond-shaped part of your brain responsible for processing fear and anxiety. The lookout, that keeps you scanning for problems or worries. When oxytocin enters the scene, it effectively turns down the volume of this alarm system. It mutes the what-ifs and the lingering echoes of the day's stressors. By dampening the amygdala's activity, oxytocin allows the emotional centers of your brain to soften, creating a mental environment where relaxation isn't just possible, but inevitable. It is the biological equivalent of a parent's hand on a restless child's shoulder, a steadying presence that whispers that the perimeter is secure. In this cocoon of chemical safety, you may notice a feeling of universal connection. It is that soft, fuzzy boundary where the self begins to merge with the surrounding environment. You aren't just a person trying to sleep. You're a part of the quiet room, a part of the cooling night air, a part of the rhythmic breathing of the world. This sense of belonging and security is the ultimate foundation for deep rest. When the body feels truly held, the mind finally feels free to let go. You are no longer on guard. You are no longer watching the clock or monitoring your thoughts. You are simply drifting in a sea of oxytocin-induced serenity where every breath feels like a homecoming. This feeling of being held by your own biology provides the perfect transition into the deeper work of the night. Now that the body is quiet and the emotional alarms have been silenced, your brain can turn its attention inward. The external world has faded, and the internal environment is stable and warm. This security allows the brain to begin its most intricate nightly task. The process of sorting through the thousands of fragments of information gathered throughout the day. With the body at peace, the mind can now begin to refine itself, deciding what to keep and what to let go of in the quiet, focused work of the hours to come. As you lie here, perfectly still, a quiet architecture is being reshaped within your mind. This is the process of synaptic pruning, a delicate and invisible editing of your very self. Imagine your brain as a lush, sprawling garden that has grown wild throughout the day. Every conversation you had, every image you glimpsed, and every fleeting thought you entertained has sprouted a new tiny connection, a synapse. But for a garden to remain healthy and beautiful, it must be tended. It must be pruned. In the silence of the night, your brain acts as a master gardener. It moves through the vast, complex network of neurons, identifying which connections are strong and vital and which are merely clutter. This is an essential biological economy. If we remembered every single license plate we saw on the road or every stray rustle of a leaf in the wind, our minds would become heavy, cluttered, and inefficient. Synaptic pruning is the brain's way of deciding what is worth keeping. It is the process of saying, this matters and this does not. While you drift deeper into this restful state, your brain is busy strengthening the synapses that carry the lessons of the day. It is taking the fragile, short-term memories and weaving them into the permanent fabric of your long-term wisdom. This is how a new skill becomes second nature. This is how a difficult experience is transformed into a piece of lifelong insight. By strengthening these pathways and clearing away the noise, sleep ensures that when you wake, your mind is more capable, more resilient, and more refined than it was when you first closed your eyes. There is a profound comfort in knowing that even as you let go of conscious control, you are being restored. You are not just resting, you are being curated. The unnecessary stresses, the trivial details, and the lingering echoes of the day are being gently cleared away, leaving behind only the essence of who you are. It is a nightly renewal, a clearing of the path so that tomorrow can begin with a clean slate and a sharper focus. Think of these neuronal pathways as trails through a deep, quiet forest. The paths you walked most often today, the things you learned, the moments of genuine connection, the insights you gained, are being paved and widened. They are being made permanent parts of your landscape. Meanwhile, the paths that lead nowhere, the dead ends of minor frustrations or irrelevant data, are being allowed to overgrow and disappear. This is the grace of sleep. It allows us to forget what is not worth remembering. It provides the quiet space for our true selves to emerge from the chaos of the waking world. As the pruning continues, your mind becomes a more efficient, more peaceful place to reside. You are becoming lighter. The weight of the day is lifting, not just from your muscles, but from the very structure of your brain. The work of the day is finally, truly done. The garden is tended, the stories are filed away. You are left with nothing but the steady, rhythmic pulse of your own existence, drifting further and further into the quiet. The world outside has ceased to exist, and even the world inside is settling into a deep, harmonious order. You are ready now to let the last of the light fade as the internal journey nears its gentle conclusion. We have traveled a long way together tonight, all while you remain perfectly still in the quiet sanctuary of your room. Think back to where we began, to that single ancient photon of light traveling across the vastness of space to find your eye. We followed its journey through the lens and onto the delicate tapestry of your retina, where light became language for your brain. We listened to the invisible ripples of sound as they funneled into the labyrinth of your ear, turning vibrations into the music of silence. We felt the weight of the world settle into the comfort of your sheets, the deep pressure against your skin signaling to your nervous system that you are protected, grounded, and held by the very gravity of the earth. We breathed in the scent of memories and the chemistry of the forest, letting the olfactory bulb speak directly to your heart. We moved inward, past the skin and the bone, to the steady rhythmic pulse of your heart and the long soothing reach of the vagus nerve, your body's own internal brake pedal, slowing everything down into a state of perfect restorative grace. You have seen how your biology works tirelessly for you, even now. Your temperature has dipped those necessary degrees, signaling to every cell that it is time for hibernation. Your pineal gland has released its dark, quiet signal, and your brainwaves have slowed from the busy chatter of the day into the long, rolling swells of the deep Delta Sea. The cleaning crews of the glymphatic system are moving through the valleys of your mind, washing away the remnants of the day, while your synapses prune and shape your experiences into wisdom. Everything is in its right place. There is nothing left for you to do, and nowhere else you need to be. The world outside has grown dim and distant, its noises muffled by the heavy velvet of the night. Your body is a masterpiece of self-regulation, a silent engine of healing that knows exactly how to carry you through the hours of the dark. You can trust this process. You can trust the rhythm of your breath. You can trust the heaviness of your limbs. As the words begin to fade, Let the silence take their place. Feel the boundary between your thoughts and the quiet air around you begin to dissolve. You are drifting now on the final, slowest waves of the night, where time has no meaning and the self is simply a peaceful presence in the dark. The journey from the star to the cell is complete. The map has been drawn, the paths have been cleared, and the house is still. Allow yourself to sink just a little deeper into the mattress. Let the last of the tension melt from your jaw, your shoulders, and your hands. You are enveloped in a cocoon of biological certainty. You are safe. You are cared for by the very laws of nature. The light is gone, the air is cool, and the stillness is absolute. Sleep now. The science is done, and the rest is yours.